Chapter 7 Enchanted.
Just gonna get some breakfast and take her home. Gun? Gun, can you hear me?
Kim hung the phone once he saw the connection was cut off. While texting Gun to meet them at Butterfinger's Pancakes, he looked over at Woong, consulting O. She thought it'd be best for him to be a few meters away while she calmed her down. He clenched his jaw, drawing circles in the grass. He'd never seen anyone look at him the way that little girl did. The fear in her eyes made his body cold when it darted at him. He knew Woong didn't teach her to do that, but it didn't hurt any less.
Why don't you go and play on the booster rocket? I need to talk to Mr. G, okay?
Woong suggested. Oh nodded slowly before jumping off her lap, running to the playground. Kim looked over to the bench, making his way to sit next to her. Her hands folded the blanket in her lap. Kim watched O play on the playground.
So when were you going to tell me?
Woong flickered her fingers.
Eventually. Maybe.
I shouldn't be surprised that you'd have one. You couldn't possibly take me on your own.
Woong perked her head out, looking at him, confused.
Kim? What are you talking about?
Kim looked at her, frowning.
That you'd be partnered up with another spy?
Woong fell silent for a moment before bursting out in laughter, clutching her belly.
Kim, you're so eccentric! A spy? What a riot!
Kim blushed, looking away.
Well, you made it seem that way. I mean...
Woong's laughter died down eventually, inhaling some air back into her legs.
Okay. So, what makes you think that I'm a spy?
Kim sighed, thinking about what he's known from these few weeks.
Well, there's at least 3 things. You've got good hospitality, a good way to disarm any target you have.
Couldn't it be how I've been raised at all? Alright, what's number 2?
She asked, leaning back.
You're very resourceful. Obviously to use against someone.
Maybe. Or to help others. I'm guessing the third one is natural agility, which I don't have, or my cunning nature, which I've never displayed.
She chuckled, shaking her head at this prodding. Kim shifted his gaze to her.
I wasn't going to say any of those, actually. Do you remember that night when we met? How my hands projected ice?
Woong nodded at him.
You said it was a hiccup in your powers.
Well, it wasn't actually. Are you familiar with Versed history?
Not really. I only know you are one. Where are you going with this?
About 1,400 years ago, Versids were enslaved by an alien species called Mewalu after war between them on their home planet went in their favor. A young princess named Klo found a Versid named Askel conjuring up materials while he was cleaning. Curious, she snuck into his quarters at night and asked him to show her how he did it. They soon became friends, as he taught her how she could do it as well. Years had gone by, and the two fell in love, just in time for the enslavement to be void under contract. The two snuck off to dabble with their powers, but when they held hands while they were both charged with their powers, an ice beam shot to the sun, causing the world that they knew to plummet to geographical chaos, making the two tribes evacuate from the dying planet. The Versids hid, but the Mawalus found them eventually, ordering them to do their bidding for the next 200 years. They found a way to make them project ice to planets they were not accepting of until the king eventually passed.
Woong held her hand to her chest, her ears drooping.
So, what happened to Chilo and Asel?
Kim frowned.
Klo married a general to keep their race at peace. Askel became an advisor after a lot of convincing. The two were enchanted by each other, having rendezvous in secrecy. But eventually, the general found Chloe in Askel's embrace one night and killed him.
Wong gasped softly, shutting her eyes.
So, that's number 3. I guess that makes sense. So, you want nothing to do with me?
Kim held her shoulder.
No, I just couldn't be sure.
Wong patted his hand before getting up.
Well, I hope you become sure of yourself. I wouldn't like to get in between that.
She walked over to get She looked at Kim, frowning.
Have a good morning, Mr. G.
She said before walking away. Kim felt his entire heart broke, leaving the shards in his eyes as he teared up.
This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I just wasn't sure.
He clutched his arms as he began sobbing. His phone started buzzing, so he decided to look at it. He was in shock.
Goon, you're in jail?